Hey, what is up guys? So we got a lot to talk about here. There's actually huge big changes, so let's just start off with the whole Master Rule revision from Jump Festa. Basically they announced that fusions, synchros and XCs monsters will now be able to be summoned to main monster zones in addition to the extra monster zones. Meaning without this limit that we once had in the Link format, we actually got a huge buff for any decks that focus on fusion, synchro or XCs. Now, one deck that we actually do know that could actually benefit very well from this is DDDs, and that is very awesome. I'm definitely very happy about this indeed, because DDDs with the Link restrictions definitely did slow down the deck quite a bit, and it kind of took away the potential for DDDs in what it can do. However, giving, or rather taking off the restriction and allowing them to summon as many as they want from the extra deck now is definitely a very good move here. Obviously with Link monsters you still have to follow the particular limit, and pendulum summoning rules are still going to be the same thing. That being said, all these new restrictions that have been taken off to pretty much make this whole new thing called the Master Rules is definitely very nice. Now, one thing that is a bit iffy is that this will be actually implemented in April 1st of 2020, and it's kind of weird because with it being April 1st, you might think, is this a pre or a premature April Fool's joke? Who knows? I mean, it seems too good to be true if you guys actually think about it. If it is actually true, then great, but the fact that it says it's going to be implemented from April 1st, it kind of does make you, I don't know, doubt this particular thing, but I guess I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. So the next thing we want to talk about here is the new anime. So the anime is called Yugioh Sevens, and that obviously is okay. The name's not going to bother me or anything like that, because they did have Arc 5 as the 5th spin-off series, and this one, or the 5th series, and this is the 7th series, so calling it Yugioh Sevens, I wish we could find out more meaning behind its naming, but for now I guess it's up to us to theorize what it could be. But again, it's going to be airing in April 2020, so going to be very interesting to see what happens here. A bit of detail is that these guys, or the main characters, are all going to be much younger. They're going to be all elementary school characters, which is definitely very interesting to see that they're kind of actually regressing backwards, because you know, at this point in time, Yu-Gi-Oh is no longer a children's card game. It's far too complex. It's just, if you look at the actual player base, a majority of the players are all over 20. I mean, it's pretty hilarious when you think about it that way, but that's pretty much the truth. So having an anime to support the card game itself is definitely nice, but I think that they are trying to obviously go in a different direction here. They're trying to get in more younger players to actually play the game itself, or perhaps even just make the rules more simpler. We'll get to that in a moment with the whole new Rush Duels thing, but for now, it is definitely very interesting because it says here, in the not so distant future, Goha City is governed by its largest corporation, Goha Corp. Everything from schooling to dueling rules to much of daily life. We have our main character, so his name is Odo Yuga, who attends Goha's 7th elementary, decides to change this world, which is too cramped for kids, and battles with his road Rush Duel while believing in his creation. So definitely a very, obviously you could see this is a different world. A lot of people were predicting that after Reigns, the next series would be a continuation of Reigns, or perhaps, I don't know, a huge, I guess, collaboration, really, you know, of all these characters, a crossover, that was the word I was trying to get at, a huge crossover between all the animes, but instead, again, we're getting a new series, completely different dimension here, different world really, different timeline, and a new character that is much younger, so it's going to be much more interesting to see what happens here because, you know, I don't know, I was kind of a bigger fan of the older characters like Yusei or look, even Yusaku, being a 16-year-old, he was okay as a main character because he was a lot more on the mature side. But seeing someone who is more of a, I don't know, we'll have to see on his skill level in the game itself, but who knows? He might actually be very skilled at a young age, and that is quite possible. It's just, you know, it's not something I'm particularly going to be looking too forward to in this particular series. But with that being said, there's not much else to it. It says in a not too distant future, but you don't know how far the technology's progressed in this particular storyline, so it does leave lots of speculation indeed. But of course, the main big thing is the new Rush Duel format. Now, Rush Duel is going to be a new card concept itself, so it's actually a card type. The card is going to be called Rush Duel, which is definitely very interesting because why is it called Rush Duel? Shouldn't it be just called Rush Cards? But no, it isn't. It's actually called Rush Duel. So basically, by looking forward to it, the whole anime will be promoting this, the whole anime will be running over this, and it's basically a new concept that's actually created by the protagonist. So we're seeing a similar sense to how Yuya in Arc 5 actually created or discovered Pendulum, and in this particular case, Yuga, our new protagonist here, will be creating Rush Duels. So basically, he just doesn't like rules and he wants to change it. I do like that concept where he doesn't want to just stick to societal norms and he just wants to change the rules a bit so that he could at least, I don't know, make some sort of revolutionary thing towards the world of dueling. Which I think could be very relatable to real life as well, so very nice indeed. Of course, this is going to come out or be implemented in April 2020 along with the other master rules. Now don't get confused, the master rules that's taking away the restrictions as well as Rush Duels, they're going to be two separate formats. At least this is what I believe right now. We'll have to get a bit more information on that, but for now they are going to be different formats, so we're going to be having at least 3 formats by 2020 of April. That being, we'll have our regular master rules, we'll have our speed duels, and of course the new Rush Duels. So it is going to be really weird indeed to see what happens, but of course this will all debut in Rise of the Duelist. A lot of these new cards, we can see a bit of the artwork here. It's definitely very weird. Actually, let me just talk about the Rush Duels and their whole rules and how things work, the whole concept that is. So they're going to be using the specialized cards known as Rush Duel cards. These cards are pretty much just, I don't know, I mean, they're obviously designed to focus on this particular format alone, so very, I don't know, I have a bit mixed feelings about these cards. The artwork is definitely, it draws a lot of attention, that's for sure, and it almost feels like it's not Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, you know, the whole artwork, the whole card design, it really does not feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! It feels like a completely new card game to me. But at least this is just going for the whole Rush Duels. The second thing is that there is also continuous summoning. Basically, there is no limit to how many times you can summon. As long as you have monsters in your hand, you can just summon out your entire hand. So I have no idea how this is going to work, but I can definitely see that this is just a purely Rush Duel format. So obviously there are going to be very specific cards that will only be allowed to be played in this particular format. And the third thing is that there is mass drawing. Basically each turn every player gets to draw until they have 5 cards in the hand. So basically in one turn, I guess if you want to just empty out your hand, it's perfectly fine, and you could just go crazy on the next turn because you're just going to get 5 anyway. I do like it, and I don't at the same time. Firstly, it is going to be kind of weird to see OTKs and everything like that. Might actually make the game a lot faster, but that being said, the good thing is that every turn a player will be able to do something, so as long as they don't make the cards too broken, I think this will definitely be a good thing to actually implement ahead. But for that, I am not too sure as to what they'll be doing from there. So yeah. Of course, the rules for tribute summoning still applies, but that being said, again, it's just, I really have mixed feelings about this. My thoughts on it is, I'm not too looking forward to the whole fact that the protagonist or the main cast will be much younger. The anime focusing more so towards a younger audience is definitely not something I'm particularly looking forward to. And the whole rush duel format, again, it's not something that's particularly enticing in any way. It just seems, I don't know, it seems almost too childish here. And yes, while Yu-Gi-Oh is a children's card game, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. It really just doesn't feel right. Definitely let me know on this. But yeah, so we can see a bit more cards here. The dual disc is definitely very interesting. Kind of, yeah, weird for sure. I mean, there's only 3 zones, so obviously we can see that, yeah, it's a completely different format, and obviously the regular format that we're all used to will still have the same game board setup, that is, with the 5 zones and everything. But yeah, this anime definitely very interesting, debuting a new Blue Eyes, or perhaps a revamped version or a Rush Duel version of Blue Eyes, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had Rush Duel versions of the current cards we actually have right now, meaning to actually play in a Rush Duel format, you're most likely going to have the specific cards needed for it. But yeah, it's definitely just generating a lot of talk right now. A lot of people are definitely, I don't know, a lot of people are not really for it. Some people are for it. You know, I get why. It's an easy way to get new players into the game. It's more simple, makes sense. And once people get used to it, they can then easily transition into the more complex format that we all know. So good idea to actually get in more players to actually play the game itself. But that being said, this is also just a completely new concept, so it's going to be difficult to see if this will even become successful at all. But we can't know for sure, we'll have to find out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. It was just really crazy just hearing all this news, and I would definitely like to see more details as to what else can be happening here. Several things I'm not looking forward to. In fact, most of these things I'm not looking too forward to. The only thing I'm really interested in is the master rules, which will be implemented into the regular formats, where a lot of our old decks can actually be playable again without the link restrictions, so definitely very nice there. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys actually think about this. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.